بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Firstly, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is the month of Rabiul Awwal, and it's a good time to reflect on the part of the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his life. And his life is very vast, as in the 23 years of prophethood that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had has so much that you can fill volumes, and there are volumes out there on the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in these 20 minutes, I've got no way of going through so much of the seerah, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to just reflect on one aspect of the seerah and one thing which we should focus on. And that is that the Prophet ﷺ, he remained so positive in his attitude towards what would happen in the future. Now, think about it. This is Arabia, this is the beginning of Islam, this is one of the worst places in the world you could be because they buried their daughters alive. They have no regards for, law and civilization. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam starting his mission, when it starts, we get many different episodes where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will carry on believing that the best outcome will come about, even though the situation is at its worst. Now, the reason why I'm giving this aspect of the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is because we have so many events that have happened in so many, many times before us, but even let's talk about current times. In our current times, we've got events that make us feel as a Muslim ummah that things are going so bad that, the Muslims are going to get blown away here, and they're going to get damaged there, and they're going to go through this here. And we've got these things, and they come about every other few years. We've got a situation where you think about the Muslim ummah, and you think, oh my God, look what's happening over there, look what's over here. Now, this is on a major scale at the moment because Islam has spread out throughout the whole of the world. But on a minor scale, again, if you look at it from a minor scale, the same thing is happening, but just on a minor scale, right? Same thing is happening. So instead of looking at it from country to country that has got problems, we should look at it as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is spreading his Islam amongst his congregation or amongst the people that he knows in Mecca. And these people, one after the other, they're getting tortured. Okay? So he is in early Makkah, he's spreading his message, and the poor Muslims, because most of them who followed him were poor, and now they're getting tortured. And some of them are getting tortured quite bad. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam still gives them the spirit of things are going to all work out well. In fact, at that moment, when he was in Makkah al-Mukarramah, the words that he used to try and bring the mushrikeen into Islam is he said, if you people believe in this, then this Arab land, the whole of the Arab lands, one day they will all be yours. And look at the positiveness that he's thinking about, and look at where he is, because within the 5 years of his preaching, he only had about 50 people, 45, 50 people that believed in Islam. Yet he's talking about taking over the world. Okay, now. What happens after that is they take him into, they put him into a boycott. Now, during that boycott, this was the biggest imprisonment the people of Makkah had done. So they put Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his followers, and anyone who helped him in any way, including his uncle Abu Talib, who was still a mushrik, he was a polytheist, even he had to go into this valley. And no food inside there, nothing coming outside there, no marriage to be done with them. It was a boycott. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what did he do in that imprisonment? Well, when they go into prison, like Yusuf alayhi sallam was in prison for about 7 years, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in this kind of an imprisonment with all his people there. For what? For about 2 to 2.5 years. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam still preached. He preached, and he had hope that things will be bright. Now he comes out of it. Things get even more sour because his guardian, who was the guardian like outside of his house, who was Abu Talib. Because of Abu Talib's position, they couldn't do a lot to the Prophet ﷺ. And his person who used to keep him calm within, emotionally and within his mind, used to give him a lot of rest was his wife, Khadija radiallahu anha. Both of them passed away in the same year. And they call this the Amul Huzn. They call this the year of grief. Now the Prophet was actually struck by grief. Yet, still, despite all of this, he has plans and he's trying to make ways of getting Islam to be spread. And he's got this faith. Look, the faith of a person should never break. This is the message that I'm trying to give in this pre-khutbah talk, which is whatever goes around you, the mental side and the emotional side has to always remain strong. Okay? I don't know if you've seen, certain people might get struck with a big illness and they go into hospital. And the doctors might say, oh, you've got 6 months left, or you've got 12 months left, oh, we don't know what's going to happen with you. And the doctors carry on playing around with them, right, with words. Now, the patient, if the patient believes, I'm going to be well, and the patient keeps their strength, I'm going to be okay, and things are going to work out right, then you know what? That's 70% of healing. That's 70% of healing done there if the patient keeps their mind strong, their emotions strong. But as soon as the patient gives up, then you start seeing deteriorating, elements of the body deteriorating, or the person just, going from bad to worse. They even say in sports, and this is modern day psychologists that say this, that about 70% of winning in a match is not physical, it's actually mental and emotional. The rest of the 30% is physical. Getting that mind to believe that things are going to work out and they're going to be right is the biggest element of you making that progress. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in that year of grief, Allah gave him a bounty, okay, to lift his spirits up. He gave him the biggest sort of holiday, or you could say vacation, anyone could ever have, which is Allah took him to the heavens. This was Mi'raj, okay, to the heavens to see Jannah, Jahannam for real, and then to have a conversation with Allah Azza wa Jal. This was the greatest break and journey anyone could ever make. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam got that. Anyway, he comes back to Makkah al-Mukarramah. Now, what does he do now? Because the people of Makkah have got their backs against the wall, and they're really going for him because his uncle's gone. So Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam turned his attention towards Taif. And when he went to Taif, of course we know the story, he got stoned over there. Stoned, him and his companion, they got stoned there, and Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was covered with blood. Okay? So this Taif actually happened just before he went to Mi'raj. But then what does he do? Well, he changes his strategy. And the Prophet ﷺ then starts to make visits with the people who are coming to Hajj, because they still had Hajj at that time, although there was polytheism involved. And he meets 6 people only, coming from Yathrib, which is known as Medina today. And from those 6 people who liked his message, they brought in another 6 people the following year, and they too liked his message. All 12 of them had embraced Islam. And then they say, look, we want to call you, why don't you just come and live with us? Now his whole strategy is changing. He's going to go and live with the people of Medina. Now he makes sure that they are absolutely certain of what's going to happen in the future. And they take him on. So Prophet moves to Medina. Now he's left the whole of Makkah. He's left his beloved country. He has tears in his eyes as he's looking back at Makkah when he's leaving. When it comes to Medina, now again, look, his spirits are high. He's believing things are going to get done. And he builds the masjid. He settles in there. His companions migrate from Makkah to Medina. And now the heat has been turned on even more. Because the Makkah sort of Quraysh, the Quraysh at Makkah al-Mukarramah, they are planning to come and completely annihilate the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they bring 1,000 men the following year, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam he's got 313 men, and they come and they have a clash because Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam went out to try and attack one of the caravans which is coming from Syria. This is all to do with the war, because they're selling the houses of the Muslims in Makkah, using that money to buy arsenal and ammunition from Syria. They're traveling from north all the way down to south to Makkah al-Mukarramah. They have to pass by Medina. Prophet ﷺ knows about this, and he's saying, look, let's go and attack these caravans because we're going to stop them in their tracks. I'm going to take that ammunition off them so that they can't bring it back and kill us with it. What happens is that they get wind of this. So Makkah comes forward, there's 1,000 of them, and suddenly they're in the middle of a war. Suddenly they have to fight overnight. Now the Prophet, what does he do? He gives encouragement to his Sahaba. Look, his Sahaba have barely got anything. I mean, they didn't come out to fight. They didn't come trained. And this is about to happen. This is the Battle of Badr about to happen. The Prophet ﷺ gives them instructions. Now look how positive he thinks. He's got 313 men, and his belief is in Allah, and he knows somewhere or another, Islam will triumph. How it's going to happen, he doesn't know. But the fact that it's going to happen, he knows. And that's what belief is. So if you take anything from this pre-khutbah talk, what you take from this is, your belief should be 100%, as long as, look, you shouldn't do major sins, okay? So all major sins, get them out of your life. Do tawbah for your major sins. Minor sins, they occur. And if they occur, do tawbah and istighfar straight away. Because we are human beings, minor sins will occur. And you do tawbah, not that you look forward to minor sins, but it occurs, you do tawbah and istighfar. Then you do your Islamic duties. Okay, your salah, your fasting, your sadaqah, your zakah, your akhlaq, your character. You try and do your best for your deen. Then your faith should be 100%. Allah's going to make my future very good. Just have that faith. 100% inside you. You're not sinning and you're doing what Allah's told you to do. You should remain positive. And the thing is, look, Allah's going to make things happen now. I don't know how. You don't worry about that. You try and make this means and that means and that means and try to go this way and that way to make it happen. That's what Prophet ﷺ did. He tried to make Islam, prevail in Makkah. It never worked. He tried to make it prevail in Taif. It never worked. He tried all these other little places. It just never worked. He came to Medina and now he's got 1,000 people coming to crush him for good. But he knows inside it's going to happen, but how, he doesn't know. So the miracle happens on that day. Allah shows a miracle, which is they go out to war. Prophet ﷺ is begging Allah in the tent, oh Allah, please, this is the only small little bunch of people that are believing in your religion. If they're destroyed, then we have nothing else there. And what then happens is Allah sends the angels. 1,000, then another 2,000, another 2,000, 5,000 angels in total come, and they change the entire battleground. 13 of the leaders of Makkah who came to destroy the Prophet ﷺ, 13 big leaders. This never happened in their history. All 13 of them dead on the ground. But don't forget, this has happened fine, but the Makkans are going to come back for revenge, right? So, Prophet ﷺ, obviously he's very happy, and the Sahaba are very happy with this outcome, but it's not over yet. The following year they come back. Now 3,000 men come to destroy them, completely wipe them out. And the Prophet ﷺ has 1,000 in the beginning, 300 of them are munafiqeen, they are hypocrites, they turn their backs around. And they leave, so he's only got 700, it's almost like 1 to 4 men. But the Prophet ﷺ still goes ahead. He strategically places his men, everything's supposed to go good. Allah even promised that they would win. So the Muslims were really up in their spirits. But suddenly they start losing, they were winning, they won, they were chasing their enemies away. But suddenly, because some men left their mark behind a little valley behind which Rasulullah put 50 archers there, they left that place, and Khalid bin Walid, who wasn't a Muslim at that time, he came from there and then he attacked them from behind, and the Muslims were sandwiched. Now, things turned really bad. 70 shuhada on the battleground. But let's look at the Prophet ﷺ. Does he, because the Quran at that time said, فَلَا تَهِنُوا وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. See, even though, look, you've suffered 70 people from your 700 Sahaba who were fighting, so that's 10% were shaheed on the ground. 10% gone. These are people that you just lived with yesterday. They were your friends, they were your neighbors, they were your buddies, they were everything. They were even Hamza radiallahu anhu, he got shaheed, and Prophet cried so much. Nevertheless, what happened here is, the Quran says, فَلَا تَهِنُوا وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا. Don't lose hope. Don't be sad. وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ. You're still the most supreme of all these people. In kuntum mu'minin, if you have belief. Which Allah is saying that, look, you have your belief should be that no sadness, No worry, no grief. Let's put that aside. Yes, we're going to have that, but just put it aside. Focus on what you have, the biggest thing you have, which is Iman. And the message I'm giving to you is this. You're here, you've got things going around in your life that are probably, not going right, but you're doing the right thing. As long as you're trying to please Allah, you're staying away from major sins, and you're trying to do your ta'at, which is your good deeds, you're trying to do that, and things are still breaking around you, then remember that your faith should be 100%. That things are going to go right. Keep that in your mind. And one way or another, Allah's going to make it happen. So after this loss, Allah gave another victory to them the following morning, when they chased away the mushrikeen who came to finish, to try and kill them off. And that was Hamra'ul Asad. And then you see another thing. Look, again, they come to, this is the Battle of the Trenches, another couple of years later. They're digging a trench, okay? 10,000 are coming to wipe them off now. 10,000. Forget 1,000 and 3,000. Now 10,000 of an army of so many different people are coming together to wipe the Muslims out for good. Now Rasulullah can't take them on. There's only about 1,500 Muslims. It's just going to be crazy because you've got women inside the city as well. So what does the Prophet do? He digs a trench. He decides to dig a trench according to the consultation he did around Medina so that they can't enter Medina. Now doing this digging this trench, they come across this large rock, and no one can break this large rock. So they turn around to the Prophet ﷺ. Now look what situation they're in. They're hungry, they're starving. The Prophet ﷺ has got Sahaba comes, two of them show that they've got one rock each on their stomachs, like a large piece of stone, just to keep the pangs of hunger down. And the Prophet ﷺ, he lifts his garment up and he shows two. He's got two. Now, at that moment, think how hungry they are. They're starving. They're digging this trench for almost, over half a month, right? They've been digging every day. There's barely any food for them, and they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. There's so much, like bleakness in the future. Yet the Prophet ﷺ, when he takes the pickaxe, he smashes that rock. Okay, he smashes it with one strike, and when the dust came up, the Prophet ﷺ, at that moment, gives them the good news that one day they're going to have the empire of Persia. Empire of Persia. Now, if you look at it, look at where he is. Look at the empire of Persia, which is like, just one small army wing of theirs is 100,000 men. If the Persian army wanted to come against you, they could easily bring 500,000 men, just like that. And Rasulullah is sitting with 1,500 men, and he gives them the good news of one day you're going to take over the kingdom of Persia. Subhanallah. Obviously, the munafiqs at that time, they were laughing. They're thinking, what? This man can't even feed his own self, can't feed his men. Okay, and he's talking about taking over Persian Empire. Now again, we don't know how it happens, but he's going to do it, one way or another. Now if you go through the seerah like this, and you see every other moment, things are going bad, and people are suffering, or the Prophet ﷺ is suffering, his mood never ever changes to, oh, that's it, this would be really tough. You never hear that from Prophet ﷺ. You always hear, look, if something really bad happened, you know what he did? He came straight inside the masjid, prayed 2 rakats, and then he prayed to Allah. Sahih Hadith of Muslim. That's what you do. Something bad happened, look, just focus on Allah. Focus on your iman. Yes, things are going bad. Now things might get worse, but focus on what you have, your relationship with Allah. And that's what's going to save you. And how Allah does it, that's His doing. We can't map out, I can't map out my future, you can't map out your future. Leave it to Allah. That's what tawakkul is. You've done your best, you try to take up the means, you try to look for this, for that, which way is it going to be? You try this route, it doesn't work. You try that route, it doesn't work. You try this one again, you keep on trying. But somewhere or another, Allah's going to open a door. Maybe He opens a door from somewhere you never thought of. Maybe He might do that. And the final thing, I was an ayah of the Quran, just to, I could go through the seerah like this and just show you positive after positive, but the final thing is when they, in the Battle of Tabuk, when they were going from Medina to a very faraway place to fight, and at that time, there was a lot going on there. And Allah Azza wa Jalla said, look, He said, say this to the enemies. قُلْ لَن يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا. Say that the musibah or any difficulty will never come over us except what Allah has written for us already. And then, قُلْ هَلْ تَرَبَّصُونَ بِنَا إِلَّا إِحْدَى الْحُسْنَيَيْنِ. You, O enemies, are you waiting for us to get one of the good things that Allah has written for us? Either we die in the battle and we become shaheed, so that's one good thing that happens, or either we get our victory in this world, or we die, we become shaheed, we have a better place in the next world. Both of these are good outcome for us. Look how positive Allah made the Muslims keep on thinking, and that's how we should think. I know a lot is going around the ummah at the moment, but never lose focus on what Allah has given us. Jazakumullah khair wa akhiru da'wana. Alhamdulillah.